Alright, welcome back to another vlog. I missed last week primarily because I was sick as a dog and could hardly speak. So I decided to just forego the video blog and catch up this week. But anyways, as you can see, we now have a background. I think I like the plasma-esque background. I think kind of fits with the colorful theme of the game with all the various colorful bricks and so forth. So I really like the glow aspect of this particular thing. I got that from just experimenting a lot with different plasma algorithms. So I like that. Something else I spent some time doing was I implemented just a little bit of polish when the ball bounces off of something. Like if you'll carefully watch the wall when the ball bounces off the wall, you see that little, just the tiniest little distortion when the ball comes into contact with something. I haven't perfected it yet, but I really like the effect. And the way I'm doing it is I'm doing it through a shader. You won't be able to see it until there's one. Let me get a good stopping point. Okay. I'm doing it through a shader, and you can see here, green is transparent. But if you look over to the, I mean, it's barely visible right there. But essentially that is, let me get a better view of this. Let me see. What is my F10? Alright, that might give us a better view here. Yeah, still, it's very subtle. But if you see the textures here, basically I just have a black and white mask that I draw to this texture. And what that does is that tells the shader to distort at that location based off, you know, the value of the color. So the darker the pixel, the more intense the value or the change. Go ahead and turn the sound down a little bit. But yeah, so that's really all that's been done with the game as far as visible changes go. Something else I worked on was the sprite animation editor. So I made this to work on just simple sprite animation, sheet and animation, so one image per frame. But you know, to do this, I had to implement some other things. I had to implement a simple file browser, which is pretty useful. But anyways, I've got my assets.sprite animation file here. Open that up, and basically, you know, you can set the length of your total length of the animation in seconds, and then you can set the proportion that each frame has. Like, they're all by default set to 1. If I were to set this to 2, that means this gets twice as much time as this one does. If I set it to 3, it's 3 times, and so forth. Since the majority of the time when you're doing just regular sprite animation, you have a consistent frame rate and each image is consistently spaced from each other. So this is the easiest way to implement something like this. And of course you can shift them around, and you have a preview here. And you just select your different animations. Don't mind that, that's just a clipping issue. But yeah, all the animations, there's not a whole lot of them, but all the animations are in here. So the next step is to make a particle editor, which I'm currently in the middle of working on some. This is a different app. Just implemented a color picker, so I can pick any color. I can manually adjust it if I wanted to. Select the hue and the value, and yeah, it's pretty neat. And you can even adjust the alpha which I need to make some an ability to draw a checkerboard background so that things like transparency can be visible in instances like this. But I just finished this up earlier today. I'm going to be implementing a color gradient control that will allow you to set as many color stops as you want in your gradient, and that will be useful for the sprite, or I'm sorry, the particle editor. So yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot that was done. Making tools and designing GUIs and making it usable is a pretty time consuming process. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to do much other than those things the past couple weeks. Hopefully by this time next week, my particle editor will be done, although I think that might take a little bit more than a week, especially considering I have to make the gradient control, which will probably take at least a couple days worth of work. And I'm not going to get any time this weekend to work. So yeah, that's the current stage. It's coming along really well. I'm happy with where the game is. I'm happy with the current level of polish. Still got a little bit to do gameplay wise, not a whole lot though, fortunately. So once I get the particle system editor, one reason I'm making the particle system editor is, well, for one, it's pretty tricky to edit particle systems by hand in code, but I want to make a background for the boards here as a subtle particle system. I haven't exactly decided how I want to do that, but the particle system editor will make it easy for me to experiment. Pardon my sniffing, I still have some remnants of my cold. But yeah, so once that's done, I'll be able to add the final polish, and then I can start working on things such as Steam integration and making the the actual boards that will be shipping with the game, and then just some clean up here. I have a pretty long to-do list of just minor things that need taken care of. My current goal is to have this on Steam by the end of the year, which I think is a conservative estimate, unless my life situation changes where I can't work on it as much as I have been over the past few months. But hopefully, we'll see a December, maybe even November release. I would be very pleased with the November release, but I'm just excited to have this out and go through the process of actually releasing a game. And then looking forward to moving on to other projects, because I've got several projects I want to work on, and I don't want to shift focus off of this until it's ready to ship. I don't want to be one of those developers who has a bunch of projects that are in the works and none of them are going to get finished. So I'm committed to finishing this, to getting it out the door, and then start working on other projects to determine what I want to work on next. Although after this, I may actually have 2 projects going at once, just to sort of break up the monotony that can sometimes occur when you're bogged down with a single project. So I think that would be okay. I don't want to have so many that nothing gets done on any of them. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of here. Guess that's it for now. Hopefully I'll have another update for you in a week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.